that are in trouble for going into women's bathrooms dressed as a woman.
While Joe Rogan throws out these anti-trans claims with zero evidence,
police first learned of the suspect on October 10th after a woman at One Life Fitness in Germantown reported a man entered the woman's locker room.
Hey, here's an interesting thing to note. Creepy dudes can dress up as women and sneak into women's bathrooms totally irregardless of trans people existing or not. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Nice.
Recorded her in the shower.
A 14-year-old student assaulted a girl at Stonebridge High School in May of 2021.
I genuinely think there's people that feel like they are in the wrong biological sex. Sure. Right?
And a lot of people at a point seem to agree with that thinking. And that's why it is and was on them to gatekeep their own community and make sure we didn't end up where we are now. And many of us were calling on them to do just that, and they've chosen not to. So really, the fact that people don't feel that way anymore is for their community to deal with.
But there's also people that are...
What? That was really hard to follow.
And they're creeps. And so you give them a Willy Wonka golden ticket to go into the women's locker room and the women's bathroom. A lot of these people that are in trouble for going into women's bathrooms dressed as a woman with a beard and a on are just that. They're creeps. Okay. They're crazy men.
while Joe Rogan throws out these anti-trans claims with zero evidence,
okay, there's nothing anti-trans about facts. And if you want evidence, I can point to a man that was dressed like a woman that was filming women in the locker room of a Planet Fitness in Maryland.
Police first learned of the suspect on October 10th after a woman at One Life Fitness in Germantown reported a man entered the woman's locker room and recorded her.
What's this have to do with trans people? A weird guy dresses up as a woman. Like, what, how does this fall on trans people? It has nothing to do with trans people.
The shower. Investigators later identified the suspect as 44-year-old Chikunidi Tati of Tacoma Park, arresting him on October 9th at the Planet Fitness in White Oak. Police say that Tati was at the gym for 7 hours without working out. He would then put on a wig and pretend to be a woman to enter the locker room where he would film his victims.
There was the one video I did of the trans woman that made no effort to look like a woman at all, that was actually stroking.
I've been stroking
in the women's locker room of a Planet Fitness as well.
You guys, I was in the stall.
It does not matter, bro.
I'm not harassing you out in the stall.
You're in the women's bathroom.
I'm allowed to be in here.
That was not too long ago. Then in 2021 in Loudoun County, Virginia.
So wait, so this guy went into the women's bathroom just to beat off in a stall? Well, what is the point of that? He's just like, women have sat on this toilet seat. Women poop here. Yes.
Harassing you out in the stall.
You're in the women's bathroom.
I'm allowed to be in here.
That was not too long ago. Then in 2021 in Loudoun County, Virginia.
A 14-year-old student assaulted a girl at Stonebridge High School in May of 2021. He was allowed to transfer to Broad Run High School, where he abducted and assaulted another girl in October of that year.
Then there was also the guy in Weespa, where I did an entire video about that, where I talked about after they had the protest.
Bro, your face looks bad. Your face looks bad, man.
And it was a huge thing. He had been caught staring in an 85-year-old woman's window while jerking off. He had a fleshlight. He had a knife. He wasn't wearing any pants. So the second time he got busted, he was like at a truck stop and he was wearing...
What does any of this have to do with trans people? I'm still waiting for them to explain that.
With a skirt, with no underwear. This was in public. And then the third time, it was an incident like the Wee Spa situation, except for it was a different spa in a different part of LA. And these are all things that have been reported on, and people other than myself have done.
Do these people think that just dressing up, like a man dressing up in women's clothes, do they just like think that's what trans is? Do they think that's what trans people are or something? Like, the connection here is extremely tenuous and absolutely meaningless.
So exactly how much evidence are you looking for, and how many times does it have to happen before the trans community or their allies take it seriously?
Here are the actual facts. Trans people are over 4 times more likely than cis people to be victims of violent crime,
Quick question. How's that women's problem?
including sexual assault and aggravated assault.
But you're not talking specifically about this happening in a bathroom, so really, what are we doing right now? And also, a very important point that I think they always leave out when talking about these stats is that in a lot of cases, these crimes are actually perpetrated by people that the victim in these crimes against trans people actually knew or had some type of relationship with, which I think does count.
Joe makes it sound like trans people are the predators. They're not. They're the victims.
And I would ask why it's on actual women to put themselves in danger and possibly become victims because of this.
He says they're getting a golden ticket. A golden ticket to what?
To either assault or at the very least perv out on actual women.
Dude, a weird guy can still dress up as a woman and go into a women's bathroom. Like, that can still happen. There's that trans people existing doesn't, like, make that allowed.
I mean, how stupid can you be?
Unless we want to put security guards in front of every bathroom, there's nothing stopping any man from walking into a woman's bathroom with or without dressing up. That's already true. That's always been true.
And unless we put a security guard on every trans person, there's actually no way to stop any of the dangers that you've mentioned from happening to trans people.
Wait, what? His point was that you can't... Oh, man. These right-wing gays are fucking annoying. I'm sorry.
It's actually happening. Despite no evidence of trans bathroom problems.
I've already given you evidence, little man, and if I have to, I can give you even more. So you're gonna have to...
I'm homophobic now. I'm homophobic now. There's these right-wing gays are making me homophobic.
Strategy.
19 states have banned trans people from using the bathrooms that match their gender identity.
And I think that that's a huge part of the problem right there, is that a lot of these people don't understand that bathrooms weren't meant to affirm anybody's gender identity. So being that that's the way the trans community and the trans activists are going at it, let's see if we can get it up to all 50 states that make it so you have to go to the bathroom that corresponds with the sex you were actually born. What's up, everybody? So that's enough with that little man right there. But in a second, we're going to go over a video from a trans creator.
Bro, I guarantee you that guy is fucking bigger than you, man. I mean, I can tell this man is very small.
Name of Morgan DuPont. But
not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, man. Glass houses, right?
Talk about this particular topic because I saw it last week when it came up, and it really is one of those that I really feel like it's important for as many of us, especially those of us that are from the community that they call the LGBTQIA+.
To us, LGBTQPIA+.
Even though I am a gay man, and I will tell you that I am not a part of that community anymore, but that's neither here nor there for this. I do feel that it's important for creators that are gay or any one of the letters to speak up on this type of thing, because I really am tired of people not understanding that this is a matter of comfort versus safety. And I've made people mad with this argument before. But when we're talking about women's safety versus trans people's comfort,
I didn't even realize
we do need to...
Sorry, guys. I didn't even realize I turned this way down. I just unconsciously turned it down. Something about... I think this guy's voice is just kind of...
versus safety. And I've made people mad with this argument before. But when we're talking about women's safety versus trans people's comfort, that's something that I think we do need to actually address and do need to actually...
So is this guy saying that trans people are dangerous? Just inherently? Is that what he's saying? I mean, like, I'm literally struggling to follow the logic here. I mean... What is going on right now? Like that little man, like he seemed, he didn't seem that well informed, but the last thing he said is absolutely true. Weird creeps lurking on women is that is a problem that is completely on its own. It's not intertwined with trans people at all. So, like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm not saying there can't be, like, a trans person that's a creep, but considering how few trans people there are in general, you know, it's gonna be like one creep. The guy that he showed earlier, the guy that dressed up like a woman and, you know, lurked in the women's bathroom, that guy's not trans. Does he not know that? Does he think that that guy was trans?
And back in the day,
like, I'm not a fucking trans expert by any stretch of the imagination. I think honestly, I think the focus on it is kind of fucking stupid. You know, they exist, just accept that and move on. Like, if you want to be, if you want to be scared of them because you're a little baby, that's fine too. Go ahead and do that. But I don't really get why it's not like, how is it this big social issue? It's a non-issue. This is what the fuck they have us all arguing about while they just bleed us dry.
trans people used to just use women's bathrooms or the bathrooms that corresponded with their gender identity because it wasn't just a flood of people. It was a very small part of the population, and they were trying their best to blend or to pass, as they would say, and in a lot of cases went completely undetected because nobody knew. And this is where I think that Joe Rogan's argument, which I'm not necessarily a fan of Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan's argument really does hold water in when he says that it has turned into a golden ticket for any perp.
This guy seems like a fan. This guy seems like a Joe Rogan fan. I mean, he just really gives off that vibe.
Go ahead and get access to women's bathrooms and women's spaces. And so the reason that I wanted to go over Morgan's video is because in this video, Morgan does an experiment where Morgan goes into the men's bathroom to prove, I guess, the point that Morgan or other trans people wouldn't be safe in the men's bathroom, but instead ends up proving the complete opposite point, if you ask me. But I think is important in the way that it does shoot down this claim that the men's bathroom is this really scary and unsafe place for trans people. But before we jump into Morgan's video, one thing I wanted to make very clear is I don't really buy that trans people are afraid to go into the bathrooms that correspond with their actual birth sex in the first place. Because if you notice, new school trans people will wear pins and buttons and flags and everything that lets you know that they're trans, because it's all about trans pride. But then when it comes to the bathroom, suddenly now you're afraid. So when you're walking down the street, completely advertised.
This guy's an idiot. This guy is an actual idiot. Dude, if you present as a woman and you go into the men's bathroom, that's going to be fucking awkward all around. That's going to be weird. It would make a lot more sense to go in the women's bathroom. Like, that's just flat out, that's just how it is. This guy's a moron.
It to the entire world. You're completely fine and you're brave and you're proud. But suddenly you get to the bathroom and that's where it's all gonna go down. Which I've argued before that I really doubt anybody would even notice them in the men's bathroom, because the way that we're conditioned as men, outside of gay men who will occasionally cruise bathrooms, but a story for another video, men really don't pay attention to each other in public bathrooms because nobody wants to come off as gay.
But if there was someone that, for all intents and purposes, appeared to be a woman in the men's bathroom, I think men would notice that. Men don't pay attention to each other because it's the fucking bathroom. That's not really the place to fucking pay attention to people. But if, there's gendered bathrooms and someone who presents as a woman is in the men's bathroom, that would be weird. People would definitely notice that. It would make people uncomfortable. I'm sure it would make the trans person uncomfortable, and it would make the cis men uncomfortable. So that's what this guy wants? He wants a trans woman to have to go to the men's bathroom because why? How the fuck is that better for anyone? That's stupid. This is dumb. But hey, I'm engaging in it, so I'm stupid too.
Or trying to be a creep in any sort of way. So even though the men's bathroom may not feel comfortable for certain trans people, I really don't buy into the fact that it's not safe. But let's check out Morgan's video and see if we can get some confirmation one way or another on that. Okay, so now you see that Morgan is just waiting in the men's bathroom for their first victim. And the caption says, when a trans woman uses the male restroom. Which, I know this doesn't matter to the video, but it really does bother me when people use the plural women when they mean woman. Morgan clearly means when a trans woman, not women, uses the male restroom. But that aside, just to get a quick baseline
Your
for
face
this,
bothers
does Morgan
me.
look at all scared or uncomfortable to you being in the men's bathroom right now? Answer below in the comments.
Those guys look uncomfortable.
Okay, so as you just saw, two
Those guys looked pretty uncomfortable.
rather sizable men walk into the men's bathroom, one after the next, and Morgan appears to not have a care in the world, sashaying and sauntering in front of their camera like a gay boy. But this is such a dangerous situation for trans people, right?
All right. So,
Okay, I want you to notice that Morgan appears to be holding that phone with their hand, but the hand doesn't appear to be shaking. But again, this is the scariest, most nerve-wracking situation for a trans person, doing it with a steady hand. Not trying to start an argument with anybody, just saying that
I'm sorry. I don't think I'm up to speed on this. It would make sense to me that the argument would be we want to use the bathroom of the gender we identify as because that's what makes the most sense. And doing otherwise would make everybody uncomfortable. That seems like the argument. I didn't know that the argument was we can't use the other bathroom because we will be killed. I mean, I don't know why you would need to make that the argument when, being uncomfortable that's good enough. It's just using the bathroom, guys. It's not that big of a deal.
usually if a person is super nervous or feels any kind of fear, there's at least going to be a tremor if their hand is holding on to
Oh yeah, this guy's a body language expert. Yeah.
something like a phone.
okay.
She's a journalist, guys. This guy's a journalist.
If she was scared, her hand would be shaking. So, case dismissed.
It's a serve. It's a serve. Hello.
Okay, so just after Morgan gets done saying it's a sir, which is a perfectly normal thing to say in the men's bathroom, trying to do your best catwalk and making sure that your hair looks good, a gentleman walks in and he looks pretty tall, a bit imposing, and like he may have had a long day. So
You know what? He also looks extremely uncomfortable. Do you care about this guy or not? You don't care about this guy? Like, why is that not part of your fucking argument? Jesus Christ.
here's the confrontation.
Hello. How are you?
If you didn't hear him, he just said this is not one for the women, though. We're getting into very dangerous territory now.
Oh, well, I've been told that I belong here because I'm trans.
Morgan just admitted to being trans.
What the what world does this guy live in? What reality does he live in? Like, all his gotchas are bizarre.
Yeah.
And he just proceeds to go into the bathroom? Sir, you better go back there and whoop Morgan's ass so this experiment turns out to be what they wanted it to be. Because as far as I can tell, I've seen zero danger and Morgan just basically acting like a creep, recording in the men's bathroom, which there were people asking Morgan in Morgan's comments why Morgan was recording in the men's bathroom. And Morgan kept saying, for safety. If you don't stop acting like someone can't just pull that phone out of your hand, throw it against the wall and commence to beating your ass, you're not being honest about anything in life.
Bro, what if I used, name any fucking degenerate streamer and said, that represents my gender. This guy represents, that's ridiculous, man. This person is obviously doing something pretty controversial because it gets them views. And you are also benefiting off that while pretending like you're all holier than thou. Well, I guess you are holier than thou because you have a lot of fucking holes in your face. I gotta pee. Back.
Right now, Morgan. And if you notice, I'm not giving Morgan the she, her pronouns. I am giving Morgan the they, them pronouns. Because for a while there, I really did respect Morgan. And when I respect somebody, I will use their preferred pronouns. I know some people don't. I don't hold that against anybody. But the reason that I will not be using she, her pronouns with Morgan DuPont anymore, who also has had the full change. So technically, I don't think that most women would mind having Morgan in the women's bathroom because Morgan no longer has male genitalia. So Morgan, in other words, really isn't a threat. I know there's some people that still would have a problem with that. I'm not speaking for anybody. I'm just saying I've heard a lot of women say that
it really seems like you are speaking for the people that would have a problem for that. That's kind of the whole video so far, bud.
if a person has had the full transition and no longer has male parts, they're fine with them being in the women's bathroom. But to get back to my point, the reason that I'm not giving Morgan the she, her pronouns anymore is because lately everything Morgan does is basically Morgan acting like a gay boy, but presenting as a trans woman. So to me, I don't see why I should go out of my way to address somebody as a woman and a she and a her when their behavior is not that far off from mine.
Wow, what amazing logic this man has. Genius. He's almost a genius, I think.
Is that okay? Or should I go to the women's restroom? This is what it said we do.
Yeah, gender's not a social construct, but also, you know, I'll pick your pronouns based on how similar you are to me. If you remind me of myself, then you're my gender.
Okay, I noticed Morgan didn't wait for that man to answer. Just all of a sudden, Morgan was standing in front of the men's sign and being like, they say this is where we belong. And it's probably because that man didn't care one way or another. That man probably didn't answer Morgan after that. And I wouldn't either, because it's sort of like, creep, why are you acting like the...
Dude, your voice is an abomination. The tone and sound of your voice is an abomination. And I'm not saying that to be mean to this guy. I'm just, you know, speaking as a victim of his voice. You know, I have to hear it. It's going directly into my ears. It is an abomination. It hurts. It actually hurts to listen to. And again, that's not just the content being, you know, bottom of the barrel fucking anti-trans gobbledygook. This guy doesn't even fucking know what the fuck he's saying. He just said something for 10 minutes and then goes, well, I'm not saying that thing that I was just saying this whole video. I'm not actually saying that. Yeah. So, this person seems obnoxious. Not a huge fan. This person, much worse. Much worse.
Bathroom greeter, first off. And secondly, why are you still trying to talk to me in the men's bathroom where that's not what we do? And Morgan spent enough time living as a male that Morgan knows how bathroom etiquette works for men. Morgan knows that Morgan is coming off as a creep and making people uncomfortable. So I don't really know.
I think that's the point of the video. Because when someone who presents as female is in the men's restroom, it is weird and uncomfortable and awkward. I think she's just exacerbating that to make a point.
Exactly what point Morgan was trying to prove with this video.
I just told you. It's not that fucking complicated.
But let's say, for the sake of argument, that this man had said that he was uncomfortable with Morgan being in the men's bathroom and that Morgan should go into the women's bathroom. Why is it that if a man tells you that he's uncomfortable with you being in the men's bathroom, you're okay with that and you'll definitely go to the other? But if a woman tells you that she's uncomfortable with trans people in the women's bathroom, suddenly...
What the fuck are you talking about? So if he had said something and she reacted this specific way, that would be kind of questionable. Huh? Gotcha? Jesus Christ.
Becomes a problem. But to answer your question, Morgan, yes, that is where you belong. You belong in the men's bathroom because we all know that when people...
There it is. Thank you for clearing that up.
Men, they actually mean male. And no matter what you or any trans person does to change themselves, biologically, you still are a man.
You lie. Lies and fairy tales.
And Morgan had to answer Morgan's own question. You lie. Lies and fairy tales. Ask women that. Why don't you ask women that same thing? Go into the women's bathroom and conduct this exact same experiment, Morgan. And then when women tell you that they're not comfortable with you in the women's bathroom, once you tell them you're trans, then let me see you be just as agreeable about it, since clearly you're another one that really doesn't mind being trans, except for when it comes to the rest of the world having to validate what you are. And like I said, one day I will make a video on Morgan, but Morgan isn't the particular topic of this video, even though I did use Morgan's experiment to make my point. But just to give it to you guys in a nutshell, what Morgan has turned into is the kind of trans person that will insert themselves in situations where people are going to offend them and then act victimized after they put themselves in that particular situation. And I think that does absolutely nothing to help the cause, especially if your cause is trying to make it.
I can't believe this guy is so bad that he's forcing me to like defend a fucking TikToker that's like, you know, doing obnoxious stuff for clout. But like, bro, she kind of cooked on this one. She kind of made the point. Did you see the reaction of the men coming into the men's bathroom? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was not her intention. Maybe I'm totally missing what she was going for. But, you know, that's certainly what it seemed like the point of the video was. And this guy's just like,
why would you ever do anything out of the ordinary for a video? That's just crazy.
what the fuck?
Like trans people are just as normal as everybody else, which is where Morgan started and why I originally did support Morgan. And I'm not gonna lie and make it seem like me and Morgan were ever best friends, but we did have a couple friendly exchanges on social media and in DMs. But like I said, not really a personal relationship. I did have a lot of respect for Morgan though, because Morgan did start off talking about the fact that women's safety was important and that trans people were overstepping in certain ways and giving what I would consider an overall positive message and a positive positive image of what a trans person can be. But since then, I think Morgan has realized that the likes and the comments and the validation and the support increase when you play it a particular way. And so now that's what Morgan has started to do. But in this
What are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
Experiment, which is the most important thing, the only thing Morgan proved is that using the men's bathroom would not be particularly unsafe for not only Morgan, but
using your gayness to prop up right-wing Americans. That's what you're doing. So, I mean, where do you get off?
other trans person, and that using the women's bathroom really is about validation and comfort. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I care about people's safety. I don't care about anybody's comfort. So as far as I go, everybody should continue to use the bathrooms of the sex they were assigned, because when it comes down to it, the only people that have to worry about any kind of safety risk with any regularity in public bathrooms are biological females, also known as women. And that's real.
This guy's an idiot. This guy's an absolute idiot. A creep dressed up as a woman. Actually, I'm going to say a woman because he doesn't like that. And I don't like this guy. So I enjoy being something that he doesn't like so that we're on an even playing field. He's saying that if a creepy guy dresses up as a woman, that's proof that trans people are dangerous. That guy wasn't trans though. That was just a creep dressing like a woman. Unless you think that's what being trans is, which is that's an extremely unintelligent and offensive stance. And I mean, this guy is, he knows better. But he's doing that right-wing grift.
Where I'm at on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Like, comment, subscribe, hype the video if you can. If you want to see a video of me talking about a fatty boom baddie that got kicked off a plane because she didn't know how to act, click the link on your screen. Other than that, as always, thank you for watching. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
Oh, he considers himself a comedian. Oh man. I literally had no idea. That came as a total surprise to me that he considers himself a comedian. I just listened to this guy for 20 minutes. I never would have guessed that.